Welcome back, folks. This is Bruce Smith with Wealth Curated. You may have seen the post yesterday. It's an exciting day for us. We're presenting to the world, to investors, just a really new revolutionary idea in a lot of ways for Diamond Standard. I've got with me Chris Desi, Chief Revenue Officer of Diamond Standard. And before he tells us a lot about the company and what they're doing in this new commodity, in a very real sense, a new addition to the commodity sector. Maybe, Chris, you can tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing there, and how you came to be a part of this new operation.
Sure. Nice to see you, Bruce. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Very excited to be here. So my background is in tech. I've been building sales organizations in SaaS companies for 23 years. And I was discovered Diamond Standard via LinkedIn, of all things, and came to know Cormac Kinney. And one of our first conversations, I remember telling him, I'm like, look, I don't have a financial background. And he's like, yeah, but you built sales organizations. So I started in June of last year. It's been about 10 or 11 months now, and it's been quite the ride.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I sent an email blast out. I sent some social media stuff out, really hyping this talk because when I was introduced to you guys, it was struck me as sort of a lightning bolt idea, fascinating in a lot of ways. So tell us a bit about Cormac, how this whole idea came about, and why this, why now? And we'll dive in deeper as we go.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think the why this, why now, and about Cormac is the most fascinating part of Diamond Standard. He's a genius. And I don't use that word lightly. I've been around a lot of very smart people in my career in tech, but Cormac is a quant that has been building trading systems on Wall Street for 30 years. He's got 4,000 references to his name in the US Patent Office. He's built 5 startups, sold 4 of them into Fortune 500 companies, News Corp and Oracle among them. The man has a track record that is impeccable. Multiple degrees from Carnegie Mellon, and he has a very curious mind, and you need to have that quant mentality in order to come to where we are with Diamond Standard. And one of the first meetings that I took with Cormac, I had kind of the same question. I'm like, all right, how does this Wall Street guy end up dealing with diamonds? Like, right. Why was this something that even crossed your mind? And it starts with his marriage. So his lovely wife, Mimi So, is a celebrity jewelry designer. And I was kind of like, okay, that's an interesting moniker. And I've been lucky enough to spend some time with Mimi. And I was like, all right, define celebrity jewelry designer. And she led with the fact that she designed the wedding bands for David Bowie and Iman. And I was like, all right, game over. You win. You're like, that's
pretty good resume.
Celebrity jewelry designer.
One-liner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but there's a reason why I tell you that. You need to understand the man and Mimi under the same roof. Mimi is a powerhouse of her own right. And then there's Cormac, this quant brain. I know that Michael Bloomberg set them up and would say that Cormac is the software and Mimi's the hardware, which I find to be a very interesting way to say it. Cormac realized over the course of his marriage and hearing what Mimi had to say about the jewelry industry is that the diamond industry is dysfunctional. And he was curious.
That would be putting it mildly. Yeah.
Mildly. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure your audience understands this, right? There's, we all kind of fall into this weird agreement that it is completely dysfunctional, that when you buy your wife an engagement ring, the moment you take it out of the store, that value is done, that it's going to be very difficult to get your money back. It's sort of this unspoken, thing where, now all of a sudden Cormac's coming saying the emperor is wearing no clothes, like that type of thing. And Cormac went about trying to solve that problem of removing the dysfunction in the diamond market, and spent about 6 years of his own money, his own resources, and his brain creating Diamond Standard, what we have today. And I don't take that lightly either, right? Like the 5 or 6 years, that work has to do with patents associated with not only the Diamond Standard coin, but the bar, the technology associated with it, the AI that allows for us to do what we do at Diamond Standard, the regulatory approvals that we have. So Cormac did very, very heavy lifting on his own, developing the technology, getting those regulatory approvals, which then leads us to our launching last year with our initial public offering.
Okay. So you have a lot there that you threw in toward the end that we're going to dive in to much deeper in this conversation. Sure. But tell us how, aside from Mimi, as this idea originated, what was sort of the inceptive spark in this relationship with Mimi, and knowing all that you just mentioned about the diamond world? So then what was the idea? What was it he was trying to do? What did he want to do with diamonds?
Yeah, it's exciting because not only is it what did he want to do, it's what he's done. So what was previously a thesis has now been proven. And that was to unlock a $1.2 trillion natural resource for the first time in the history of man. And the reality is that 1.2 natural resource is now 1.5 trillion, and he's done it. So when your audience, for example, is thinking about investing in precious metals, whether it be gold or silver or palladium or rhodium, some of the numbers around it that stimulated Cormac's curiosity has to do with the percentage of those metals that are held as an investment, as a hedge against inflation, okay, as something to do, a manner with which individuals can diversify their portfolio, which I know that your audience is very interested in. And what he realized by virtue of his research is back then there was $1.2 trillion worth of diamonds that have been mined from God's good earth. But I'll start with gold. Of all of the gold, so there's like 9 trillion. About 40% of that is held by investors and banks as I said, as a hedge or a diversification in their portfolio. Silver, palladium, rhodium combined are less of a dollar amount than diamonds, but each of them, which I found interesting, about 15% is held by investors and banks and any other portfolio that wants to diversify their portfolio or hedge against inflation. And then we get to diamonds at 1.2 trillion as that natural resource. And I don't know, take a guess. What percentage of diamonds you think were held as an investment vehicle?
As an investment vehicle, probably less than 2%.
There you go, less than 1.
Yeah.
Actually, like barely 1%.
Yeah.
So that's the thesis, right, Bruce? That delta of the 1.2 trillion, it's a $180 billion thesis. The assumption being, Cormac started thinking about this, okay, if silver, rhodium, palladium, all these different other precious metals is being held by about 15% of investors, why can't we do that for diamonds? So it might not happen tomorrow, it might not happen in 5 years, but maybe in 10 years, the assumption is that of that 1.2, now 1.5 trillion, there should be about 15% of it allocated as a definitive commodities investment, as that hedge against inflation. Now, that was the thesis, right, which has now been proven.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, go ahead.
So let me hit the pause button there, because I know what was popping up in the minds of my clientele and clientele like mine, those who invest in tangible assets and commodities like gold and silver and other things. They were probably answering that question for you. Well, why not 15%? Because as we mentioned, the diamond world has been so dysfunctional. As you mentioned, you go buy a diamond ring you walk out of there, and I don't care when it is, if it's 30 days or 30 years, you're lucky if you get 20% back
Yeah,
on
it's
that
not
investment.
happening. Yeah.
So that's one part, but there also there are clients who, there was just a narrow period of time several decades ago when people thought, they could go invest in bags of raw diamonds, right? Uncut diamonds. I had a client who had just bags and bags of them in a vault and wanted my assistance in liquidating them. He thought he had tens of millions of dollars worth of diamonds. We couldn't give them away, right?
Yeah.
So all that to say, Cormac's idea, if I've got it right, and so listeners can understand, is how do we go from that to really commoditizing diamonds so that they can function and operate as an investment vehicle and give people another diversification option. Is that the idea?
Exactly the idea. Well, was the idea, and now is the reality, which is
Okay.
which is really the exciting part, Bruce. It's like, when I first met with Cormac, he was talking about the concept of this, and I'll give you a little bit of the timeline, right? So December of 2020, we raised $18 million in equity with our partner, Horizon Kinetics. And in March of last year, so it's been a year, March of last year, we did our initial public offering. Now, we like to use the acronym IPO, but sometimes I stop myself saying IPO because people think, oh, I could go buy the stock on the stock exchange, and that's not the case. It was just the fact that our regulator, the Bermuda Monetary Authority, said, hey, Diamond Standard, you're now allowed to sell $25 million worth of these coins. And which, by the way, right here, let's see if I want to try and zoom in a little bit. So pretty sure you guys can see that. This is the Diamond Standard coin. And so in March, we were given the permission to open this up to the public to purchase these Diamond Standard coins. We were oversubscribed for that initial public offering. And the manner with which the coins were created is that we took that money, they were $5,000 per coin, and then we went about the business of leveraging the world's first and only transparent diamond exchange and purchased the diamonds around the globe from over 100 different countries. And that transparent diamond exchange has a patent associated with the AI so that we can do that. We ingest the diamonds through IGI. These are only pre-cut GIA certified diamonds that are in each of the Diamond Standard coins. They are then ingested into IGI studios for the manufacturing of a specific Diamond Standard coin. So we have two competing factions in order to confirm that these are GIA certified and the clarity of each of the diamonds. And then they went about assembling the Diamond Standard coin. But what's brilliant about it, and the reason why this couldn't have happened 3, 4, 5 years ago, is that there is a microchip embedded in each of the Diamond Standard coins. Now, that might sound like, oh, that's interesting. And yeah, there are tokens associated with it. Each coin, you have 10,000 tokens associated with it. And oh, that's just a buzzword. And oh, it's on the blockchain. And isn't that interesting? Well, the critical factor here is that the blockchain, when you purchase a specific coin and then it's placed on the blockchain, this is now public reference. And it's also, we have the ability now to then track the provenance of the diamonds in your specific coin. So Bruce goes onto diamondstandard.co and buys a Diamond Standard coin. We then go about buying the diamonds. We then ingest it into the IGI studios. IGI manufactures your specific coin. There's a photograph of the Diamond Standard coin taken. There's technology in here so that when you go to the website or leverage an app, you can go and you could say, hey, coin, I want to make sure that those are the actual diamonds that are in my coin. And it gets confirmed via the provenance of when we place it onto the blockchain. That is the compelling aspect of this as an investment. The initial individuals that invested with us in March of last year tended to be people like yourself, frankly, Bruce, and me, right? Like it was retired Wall Street, maybe a more senior demographic in Wall Street that loved the concept of cryptocurrencies, perhaps hadn't fully diversified their portfolio into cryptocurrencies, and got very excited about the aspect of blockchain and tokenization to something that's fungible, that is a definitive fungible commodity that they could either take delivery of, that they could hold in a Brinks facility. And that became the initial kickoff level of excitement that we were a little surprised by. We got some coverage in the Wall Street Journal, but it's been, all gas, no brakes since March of last year.
Okay, so let's hit the pause button again, because I know a lot of questions are popping up. All that sounds interesting and fascinating on a lot of levels, the AI, the blockchain, et cetera. There's so many questions that arise there, but the question I think is probably foremost in a lot of listeners' minds is this. So you're describing that, what you just held up as a coin. Define for us what a coin is. What is there? What quantity of diamond? Looks like there are a number of diamonds in the coin. Or are they all the same? Or are they all very close?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the coin itself.
It's all always the same geological value, right?
Okay.
So when you think about like, how do you make a diamond commodity? So just like with gold, we don't set the price. The market does, right? So investors buy the coins, and we go and we, when they buy the coin, we then go out and purchase the diamonds at a very highly optimized rate. And actually, for any of the viewers, that's actually our business, right? So this is where we make our money, is in the Diamond Standard coin, and or what we just launched last week is the Diamond Standard bar, which is 10x the coin. Okay. There's always going to be the same geological value in both the coins as well as the bars. But because we're not setting the price and the market does, the value can fluctuate and the value goes up. So we're bidding on millions of diamond types via that automated market making to purchase the statistically valid sample in the optimizer. And then GIA grades those diamonds and IGI inspects them and we deliver them, that comes in, and then the actual coin is manufactured.
Okay. And so the coin and the bar or ingot, as many in the precious metals world would know, they contain how much diamond specifically? And I assume they're all very close in all the critical attributes of diamonds, right?
Yeah, the coins are, the number is 7 or 8. So again, it's like you could have different cut and clarity, but it's always going to have the same geological value. Yeah. Okay.
Very good. So diamonds as a commodity, certainly a new turn, right? A new view and perhaps a new diversification tool. So let me ask you this. This becomes really practical and really time sensitive because we live in a world of chaos right now with all that's going on. We're all watching headlines around the clock. And Russia has a significant percentage of the world's diamonds. How do you see this impacting what you're doing? And tell us what's going on in terms of your strategic methodology there in regards to the impacts.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, anybody that is, if there are sanctions under different countries, of course, we're not purchasing diamonds from those countries. And we're, certainly well aware of what's happening around the globe. And it does impact the price of what's happening with diamonds. And it does impact some of the scarcity and the ability for us to purchase diamonds. But we don't necessarily, we're not waiting for somebody to purchase a coin in order to go out and buy that specific diamond, because we need to have a statistically relevant sample within the optimizer, right? So when the optimizer is dividing the diamonds into sets, which are containing the same geological yield curve of carats, clarity, and color, and that is where that's helping us drive the purchasing of diamonds around the globe. We're not sort of, waiting to go out and buy them as people are purchasing the coins and or the bars, so that we don't get too adversely impacted by things that are happening around the globe.
Okay. And so tell us why and how a client can have confidence if they secure one of these coins or ingots, that they're not paying the historical ridiculous markup. So it's no longer an investment. It's just a retail marketing gig. Explain to us why I can pick up the phone and either reach out to me at Wealth Curated and have me do the work for them, or come directly to you. How do they know they're getting a commodity and not a marketing product?
Yeah, great question. So a key factor to understand is that the coin is the commodity, right? And the bar is the commodity. The diamonds are not the commodity, right? So we have effectively created the diamond standard, like the 0.99 in gold. And by virtue of doing that, what we're seeing is obviously the value of diamonds are going up. The initial investors that purchased a coin for $5,000, the coins have gone up 35%. And we do have approvals for the ability for those initial investors to become liquid. So that Diamond Standard IPO was in March. We have approvals for the futures and the CME. We're launching our ETF in a few months. We're also partnering with Horizon Kinetics to launch a fund in the coming weeks. So they'll be able to see that as well. And by virtue of doing that, they, I hope that answered the question. I'm sorry, I drifted for a second there.
That's okay. No, that's good. All those things are important. I mean, the liquid value of the coins is going to become important, for investors. My suspicion is anybody who'd be interested in this will be interested in it for similar reasons as they would be invested in gold and silver as a store of value. For most folks, I think it's probably looks like a long-term play. Put it in a vault next to the stacks of gold and silver, and you don't think about it too much. It's a diversification tool, but there's always in any market, those who watch the markets and look for opportunities to get out and be liquid. So the liquidity becomes an important part of this puzzle, I'm sure, for any serious investor, certainly anyone that's going to put a significant amount of money into it. So are you guys viewing this as an alternative, a replacement sort of asset, or an addition to an asset class more holistically, a broadening of the sector? How are you viewing this as a commodity to put in people's hands? How should they be viewing it?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with saying we're the world's first regulator-approved diamond commodity that has unlocked that $1.2 trillion worth of a pool for investors to be a part of, and saying that diamonds are finally available to investors as an uncorrelated and inflation-resistant, as you were saying, store of wealth, hedge, and speculative asset becomes a very exciting, proposal. Individual investors are dealing with us because they want to hedge against said inflation. They love the fact that there's no correlation historically to other assets. They love that the potential appreciation is due to investor demand. So additional investors that see that we've unlocked this, that becomes very exciting to them. And as all of these additional institutional products that we'll be offering, as the securities are launched, positions may be built by institutions to be able for the institutions to invest and diversify into that asset class for the first time. So our thesis as well there is that the pent-up demand is, estimated to be at 15%, and the minimum share of supply that investors own of the precious metals. So capturing that hypothesis is that diamonds catch up with the palladium over 10 years, introducing the substantial new demand for diamonds, and that's where it becomes exciting.
Okay, yeah, that's really fascinating. And so are there storage options, or are most people taking physical possession? Tell me how you're handling those realities.
So the realities are, you can do either. It's up to you as an investor. But the majority of the individuals that are investing in the Diamond Standard coin or bar are opting for it to be held in our Brinks facility in Delaware. Why? Because they don't want to pay taxes on it.
Okay.
And also, and key for the audience too, is that when you allow for it to be held in the Brinks facility, you have access to the tokens, which will eventually be converted into our cryptocurrency, Bitcarbon. And then that will be, really exciting asset class associated with that. If you take the delivery of the coin, which people do like taking delivery of one coin if they're investing in 10, 15, 20 of the coins, then you're paying taxes, but then you lose access to the tokenization of the specific coin or bar. So if you're looking to have it in your own possession because you want to barter, because you want to trade based on the actual diamonds that are in the coin, perfectly fine, but you won't have the tokenization associated with the ERC20 microchip that's embedded in each of the coins.
Okay.
So that's certainly up to you. A lot of people that purchased a higher volume of coins, I couldn't figure it out, Bruce. When I first started here, I was looking at the demographics and how they were interacting with us and buying. And a lot of the people that were buying 10 or more coins tended to take delivery of at least one. And my sense is that it's, the demographic may have been more aligned with your audience as collectors because they want to show their friends. They want to be able to reach into their pocket and be like, this is $6,720 worth of diamond commodity. That's just in my pocket. You could store $300,000 an ounce worth of the Diamond Standard coins and bars. A little bit different than gold, and it becomes an exciting cocktail hour conversation piece, I would say.
Yeah, it strikes me as having interesting crossover sort of aspects, because it would be immediately, it's attractive to me as something else to have tangibly, right? But I'm also, investment minded as well. A lot of my clients have that those crossover sort of realities in their life and in their collections and various asset classes. So while I understand you lose the token ability when you have it in hand, having that tangibility is attractive. But at the same time, as you say, as the network gets expanded and these become really fungible, then you certainly want to have access to be able to digitally trade in and out, or sell off if you need to do so, or buy in, whatever it may be. So it's really interesting. It has both of those aspects. So I'll be interested to watch and see how the development of those two sides of the coin, pun intended, grow from here, because that'll be something I think it'll be a really important aspect for investors.
Yeah, and the way to look at it too, for people that are very accustomed to investing in precious metals, and this is some silver, just to give you perspective, silver versus the bar. The way we like to talk about it is the Diamond Standard coin has the best features of both gold and Bitcoin. So it has both the crypto element as well as the fungible element, whereas obviously gold is a natural commodity, as are the Diamond Standard coins. Bitcoin is not. What's the volatility? Low for gold, low for the Diamond Standard coin. For Bitcoin, obviously extreme. Regulator approval, which is key for a lot of people.
Sure.
No regulator approval for Bitcoin or even Tether, but heavily regulated Diamond Standard coins, and of course for gold as well. So when you start to look at, and then I alluded to the storage cost of $300,000 per ounce. Individuals that are taking, the storage cost of gold has a tendency to be a touch higher, right? And low for Bitcoin. So you could start to see where, these little guys are straddling the best of both worlds.
That's a really interesting concept. So are you saying in essence that this is a commodity-backed cryptocurrency? Is that the fullest idea in understanding this, or is it more a commodity that has essential crypto digital currency blockchain realities attached to it? And that's, I know it sounds just like the same thing, but it's an interesting.
It's not the same thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Because we haven't launched our cryptocurrency, it's more, the way we like to say it is we say it's stability set in stone, right? So we're solving the deficiencies of cryptocurrencies and fiat stablecoins, right? So Bitcarbon, our cryptocurrency, is a digital asset forever equal to, 1/10,000th of a diamond standard coin and staked by the commodity owners, right? So you could hold the Bitcarbon as an investment, and then you could use them like a currency on a blockchain, and then anyone can return the Bitcarbon for the physical commodity. You'd be like, hey, I want that, which trades on spot markets or can be used to asset-backed futures, ETFs, or other approved securities. So, it's not necessarily like Tether, where it's that it's not a full apples to apples comparison. And this is why personally I get so excited, because there's really nothing like the diamond standard coin. It's a first of its kind, and there has been no regulator approved diamond commodity. So it's not necessarily just anchored in the cryptocurrency. It's anchored because of the blockchain element that's tracking the provenance of the diamonds. When we launch our cryptocurrency, you'll have the ability to trade across different crypto exchanges without paying a fee, because that's not our business model, right? And that's not the same as other backed, metals that have some sort of crypto element associated with it. Our business model is, we're like a gold miner, right? We're mining the diamond standard coins on behalf of the investor, and then and that's where. So it's difficult to say, yeah, we're just like XYZ, or we're the, I know startups like to say we're the Uber of chairs, or whatever it might be.
Right.
There really isn't that definitive comparison for us.
Okay, that's really interesting. I suspect we'll have more interaction on those topics down the road. So let's talk practicality. Say a client comes to me as a Wealth Curated client and says, I'm interested in that. I don't feel like I totally have a full grasp of it yet. I want you to handle it for me, do some smart things with X dollars. Tell me about the practicality of doing business with this. If I want delivery, what's my lead time? How long does it take? What's the realities of doing a trade, quote unquote? What's the lag time? Am I talking to you on the phone and boom, that's the price, it's locked in? Tell us about some of those dynamics.
Sure. So the price is updated every Friday evening into Saturday morning. Now, again, we don't make the price. This is, the price of diamonds is not something that we're modifying. But as I said, the initial price started at 5,000, and now it's about 6,700 and change. So there's been about a 35% increase there. So individuals that want to invest in the diamond standard commodity can just go to diamondstandard.co and then select whether they want to purchase a diamond standard coin or bar. Individuals investing in the diamond standard coin or bar do not need to be accredited investors. So they can participate in the diamond standard commodity without being an accredited investor, and they can own the physical commodity associated with the digital token. Again, backed by the Bermuda Monetary Authority. You can select to have it held in the Brinks facility. There is a nominal fee for that, or you can take delivery, which you'd have to pay taxes for. The fund that we're launching in a few weeks with Horizon Kinetics, those individuals that are participating in the fund do need to be accredited investors. That minimum for the fund is a $10,000 investment, and that's a long-term hold. There's at least a year lock for the fund. We do have approval for the futures and options on the CME. We don't have a definitive timeline for that. The Bitcarbon that's associated with each coin and bar, that ICO will most likely be this coming summer. And then the equities ETF is probably about that same timeline of Bitcarbon. So those are the opportunities that individual investors have with investing with us. Now, let's talk about the timeline, right? Like, so
Yeah.
right now it's a hold for the Diamond Standard coin or bar investor, because the OTC markets are not necessarily available just yet, but that's coming very, very soon. Now, if you take delivery of the coin, nobody's stopping you going somewhere and bartering and exchanging the coin for whatever it is that you want, or heck, it's your coin. You could smash it open and you could take the diamonds out and you can go try to sell the diamonds.
Are the coins sealed in some way? Or
Yes.
what tell us about the actual physicalities of the coin?
Yeah.
Sonically sealed, etc.
So it's a resin. So they're sealed in a resin. And the resin can be dissolved if you, I believe that there's it's a paint thinner. So you could put it into paint thinner and dissolve the resin so that you can get the diamonds out of the actual coin. There's a patent associated with that, taking diamonds and putting them into a coin and putting the ERC20 microchip associated with it. I will say this. After we did the initial public offering, we were curious about how optimally we were in fact buying diamonds from over 100 different countries around the world and ingesting those diamonds into the IGI studios. Now, there are two pieces of technology there, right? There's the world's first and only fully transparent diamond exchange, where we're purchasing those diamonds from around the world. And they're small diamonds, 0.17 to 0.75 carat, which actually turns out to be the majority of diamonds that are mined in the world. We only hear about the huge diamonds because those are the interesting and sexy ones, but the majority of diamonds are much smaller diamonds. When we did the first creation of the diamonds that were good for delivery, for individuals to either be held in brinks and or for home delivery, we were just curious about, okay, we know that the exchange was optimizing, and we know that the optimizer was working, and we created the appropriate statistical relevance sample that went into each coin. But we then looked at a third party, which I won't name, but a third party that gives wholesale price recommendations based on GIA certified diamonds. Now, because you're able to track the provenance of all of the GIA certified diamonds that are in each coin, our team on the coin assembly and production side did an analysis. And what happened was, when we looked at this wholesale third party, which is a very well-respected third party that diamond dealers use as a recommendation for their wholesale prices prior to retail, those $5,000 coins, based on each of the 7 or 8 diamonds that were in those coins, on average, were listed at about $7,300 to $7,500. So we are the world's most efficient diamond buying machine, period. Full stop, which is hugely compelling as well. But individuals that are buying it and holding it at a Brinks facility right now, they don't have the ability to start trading it just yet. But all of the different products that I just spoke of are imminent. And that ecosystem that Diamond Standard has created by virtue of having, the physical commodity held by the approved custodians with the integrated wireless chip holding the blockchain token, that ability and all the products that integrate and work together, futures, ETF, Bitcarbon, and the commodity itself, we like to view it as, it's almost like the Apple products working together seamlessly, right?
Okay.
Right now, you've got the coolest one of, the iPhone. The iPad's coming out soon, and the laptop will come out soon as well.
Gotcha.
The demographic of the initial investors are, as I said, for the IPO, guys and gals like you and I, skewed older demographic that have been waiting for this for many years, for somebody to finally crack open the $1.2 trillion ecosystem of diamonds. I should say that there hasn't been a diamond mine discovered in over 25 years as well. So it's not definitively finite, but it's pretty close to a finite supply of diamonds. And that demographic has skewed drastically. Many of the demographics that we're starting to see are individuals that are very involved and very interested in cryptocurrency by virtue of crypto taking a touch of a swoon. Some of those initial investors were like, I kind of like some fungibility in diversifying my portfolio. We're also seeing lots of people that are very interested in investing in metals and silver, silver and gold and coin collectors. We're seeing that happen a lot more. And then people that follow analyst opinions, people that are paying a lot of money for very smart analysts to give them recommendations on how to diversify their portfolio, how to hedge against inflation. So that has been, the inertia has broken outside of our original ecosystem of an older demographic that really just wanted to get involved in something that was associated with crypto to a more diverse demo.
Very interesting. And at this time, the in terms of cost basis, the only way to get in there's no fractionals. Correct? Is just a coin, right?
Yeah, it's coming,
Okay.
which is it's a real question, right? It's a question that I asked, have to answer from, like my mom. When my mom talked to mom, she's like, "Oh, $6,700. I'm not sure if I have that. When can I, when's it going to be in my, an ETF?"
Right.
It's getting there, and we're very close. But again, we are a startup, right? So that full story arc that I just told you took Cormac almost 6 years to get the regulator approval, have all of the, all the patents associated with Diamond Standard. But in reality, we launched a year ago, right? That's when the initial public offering happened. And a lot of the investors, they understand that it's going to be a hold. They understand that they also understand that it's a retail investor's opportunity of a lifetime to be involved in something that's not really going to happen again. When was the last time anybody was able to be engaged in a commodity for the first time, right?
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. So that for me, it's not necessarily about a retail investor investing in one coin and wanting to have a portion of the coin. It's the opportunity to know about the earliest days of a brand new commodity where there are green pastures and regulatory approvals for all of these different, the different product suite down the roadmap. The physical commodity is just the beginning. Then it's the fund, then it's the bit carbon currency, then it's futures, then it's options, then it's the ETF. Wow. When was that?
Yeah.
When was the last anybody as an investor had an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, and two things strike me. Number one, for the speculative investor, look, it's an easy call. Your worst case scenario, getting wholesale or better than wholesale diamonds. So you have some safety net built in, but for everyone else, like you say, it's a pretty compelling idea that number one, you're getting in on the ground floor of a proven fintech guy with a lot of roadmap behind him of success, and and as you say, the ground floor of a new commodity. And best case scenario, and who knows where that goes. So it's certainly compelling on a lot of levels. So then the technology, the blockchain, and the tie-in to where the world is going in terms of digital currency. A lot of fascinating aspects, and love to have. I know my listeners would love to hear more as things develop, and maybe as you hit those timeline markers. We can do these sorts of things again, if not before, because it is fascinating, I think, worthy of investigating as things develop. So if you guys want to know more, you can get to me, of course. You know how to get to me. You can go to wealthcurated.com and we can get you critical information. Diamond Standard direct as well. Tell us the website again.
It's diamondstandard.co.
.co. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Reference us if you reach out to those guys. We've had a lot of conversations before this conversation. So just so our listeners know, and many of them already do know, all of them should know, we research is very big ideal for us. We don't do anything without a lot of research. I found this compelling, and I think the potential here is fantastic. So you will be hearing more. And Chris, I appreciate it. Maybe down the road, we can have Cormac on with you. I know our listeners will be fascinated to hear from him as well, but certainly appreciate your time. Anything else we need to know before we go today? I know we're going to dive in deeper later, but anything that you want to put on our
Yes, sure. Actually, the final little maraschino cherry is beyond that entire product suite. We also are planning diamond standard recycling. And that's based off of the knowledge that 85% of natural diamonds are owned by consumers. And there is a definitive diminishing supply.
Okay.
We believe as a company that there will be essentially a $1 trillion social dividend from an ESG perspective, because we will create a retail environment where we can buy grandma's diamond ring from you, from an unprecedented trusted buyer that's regulated, fully transparent, audited by Deloitte. Are you going to trust sending your diamonds via FedEx to somebody else to give you a fair price for it? No, but you're going to trust us, and you'll get instant payment, and we will use and scrap all materials. There'll be no selling cost, and then combine that and then use that as we ingest them for the coin assembly. That's coming, and something that's actually very important to Cormac because of that $1 trillion social dividend, so that we can help make the world a better place from an ESG perspective.
That's really fascinating. I like big thinkers. I like broad thinking, and it's certainly happening over there. You guys are leaving no stone unturned. Pun intended again.
Love it.
I'm here all week. I'm a comedian in my night gig.
Beautiful.
Fascinating discussion. I appreciate your time. And again, folks, Diamond Standard is the company, an entirely new commodities class. So contact us. We can walk you through some of the other dynamics, and we'll have Chris back again. Chris, thank you for your time. Go get them today up there in New York City.
Thanks for having me, Bruce. I really loved it. Have a great day.
We'll hear from you soon. Thanks a lot.
Take care.